have a lot of requests to share how I created this effect in my bullet journal. And there are 3 ways that you can create this. And I'm going to show you all 3 ways. I'm going to start with the easiest and then we'll progress from there. But for me, I ended up running into issues because I created this after I made this. So I had to kind of glue it, put some stuff together. And I don't know if you can see that's actually glued on. But I'll show you that method too. But so I guess this will be a 3-part video. But we'll start with the easiest way first. So you're going to need 3 pages. So this method, unfortunately, you are going to use a chunk out of your bullet journal. And then I'm going to try and use different papers so that you can get an idea of what I'm doing. So firstly, this will be your lettered piece, or this will be the top page. And you're going to measure out how many boxes you want. I decided I was going to do 16 boxes across and 7 boxes down, which is how I did this one. Now we're going to cut this out with an X-Acto knife. So one of the tricks I use is to just grab a piece of cardboard and make a ruler. And then we're just going to go in and cut it. And by having that cardboard there, it protects the pages behind them. And there you go. The pages underneath are protected and your cardboard is protected. Okay, so there you have that piece. Now I've already cut out a piece that's going to go behind. I've made it 2 blocks longer and you'll see why. And then I have the piece that's going to pull down. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to fold over a piece of this. 2 squares should be fine. And you're going to put some glue on that flap. Again, the flap's right there. Oops. And you're going to stick this roughly in the middle at the very top. So let's see. The glue side's going to go down and you're going to line up the middle portions. And you're going to glue that down so that it's going to end up looking like that. You can glue more down. That's how I do it. And then you're going to be able to pull it down like so. Now, you don't want to cut this guy off just yet because you want to make sure you're going to have it long enough. Okay, so now we're going to work on the 2nd page. So what I'm doing is I'm deciding where I want my piece to stop. Okay, now it is cut a bit bigger, and that's just to give me more margin for error. So what we're going to want to do is we want it to stop about there. So that's to mark out where your picture or your lettering is going to go. And then, so that's going to be there. So this is where you're going to want to cut your page. So what that's accounting for is that's accounting for this. So that's going to be where this is going to catch onto the lettered, this lettered portion, or the part that you're going to hide. Okay. So then you're going to have that flap and this flap, and you have your line there. Okay. So then you're going to mark off where you're going to want the glue to go. So roughly about here. Oops. So that's our 3rd page, by the way. So here you have your flap, and this is our 3rd page. So the glue is going to go in this section. If you want to reduce bulk in your journal, you can cut this part out too. So before you start gluing, you're going to want to make sure that you put your piece in there first. So I've definitely made that mistake before. And don't be afraid to get right up there, because it's just going to act as a catch. So it would have been better. The paper is a little thin here, so it's not quite as forgiving as the thicker paper. But if you just kind of manipulate it a little bit, it'll be fine. There you go. So what you can do here is you could have chosen to cut this out before you glued it. And then what you can do is you can decide where you want to cut this guy. Make sure to cut it when the flap is pushed up. There we go. That is the first way to make it. Now this paper is thinner, which is why you can see the brown through it, but that is method 1. Welcome to method 2 of creating this little interactive pull tab feature in a bullet journal. I've already shared method 1, and now I'm going to share method 2. I hope you find it helpful. For method 1, you use 3 pages in your bullet journal. For method 2, you're going to use 2 pages. And so I already have my pull tab portion cut. Again, these squares I'm using measure 16 by 7. Since this is the element that's going to be pulling down, I accounted for extra blocks on the outside. So this ended up being, I think I accidentally cut it to 19 when I meant to cut it to 20, just because even numbers are obviously easier to work with. And this is my pull tab. It's the full length of the page. And it's 6 boxes across. Now you're going to want to keep the length of your pull tab and cut it at the very end so that you don't miss out. Okay, so we'll get back to this guy. Now here is your lettered layout. It's all pretty for you. Okay, all pretty. There's your quote. You're good to go. And now you're going to want to cut out your little box. And this is just an extra piece of paper I had. I colored it in so that we could differentiate between the two. This will be the C. So here's the C. And then this is going to be the pull down portion, which is the B. Okay. So you're going to measure where about you want to put your first word. So you do it about here. Roughly measure it. Now what I've done is this is actually cut to size. So this is 9 boxes down. So just to give it a little bit of room. And then it's the width of the page as well. So just to kind of make it less bumpy in the long run. Okay. So because this is 9 boxes, I'm going to give myself a buffer of 1 set of boxes. So again, this square here is 16 boxes by 7 boxes, which is what this original method is. I mean, you adjust your measurements based on what you're wanting to create, but that's what I'm creating. I use a piece of cardboard when I'm using a craft knife in my bullet journal. The gluing portion. This is the area for the gluing portion. And what I want to do is, before we go in and actually glue it, I just want to measure where I have to put the glue. And try and get as close to that line as possible. And there you have your portion that's going to hook down like that. Perfect. Okay, so now that we have this figured out, what you're going to want to do is you're going to push this up. See where about you want it to go. So you don't want to put your glue line too high, because if you put it too high, then it's going to catch on the edge here. So just make sure that it's enough overlap that it doesn't show in the front, but it's not unhooking from this portion either. So and before you go ahead and glue everything down, you can go in and create your little pocket for your pull tab. Before you glue, make sure this guide is more or less in place, because once you glue, you're not going to be able to put them in. And there you go. You just have to just massage that into place a little bit there. And then there you have your pull feature. And then when you're ready to cut your pull tab, make sure it's up before you cut it, and then you pull it down. Again, you just have to massage this guy just a little bit so that it doesn't catch as much. And there you go. That is method 2 for creating your pull tab. And now I will share method 3 with you. This is method 3 for creating this pull down technique for a bullet journal. Now, honestly, this is probably the easiest of the 3 techniques. And when I thought about it, I was super annoyed that I didn't think about it in the first place. So, this technique's going to use 2 pages as well. So just be prepared for that. What you're going to do is, just like with my other ones, I'm going to be cutting a window into my page. Now, all of my measurements have been 16 by 7, so this is 16 blocks across by 7 blocks down. So with this method, you're going to make sure that you have enough space to cover a section that you're going to be lettering on. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then with some space. And that space is important as well. So let's cut our window. Again, if you haven't seen the first 2 videos, I use a piece of cardboard in between my pages to protect the following pages from any cut marks or damage from the craft knife. Yeah, this is just a piece of cardboard. Okay, so there we have our window, and this is going to be our front page. So this is our lettered layout. So let's pretend it's all pretty. We worked hard. Yay! Okay, so let's just mark this out on the next page. Oh, and then our pull tab. So this is the middle. Give me a second, I'm just going to triple check my measurements, and then we're going to see which portion of this is glue. So you're going to take a page. This is an extra page I had from my previous examples. And you're going to count out 14 boxes. So the 14 boxes are 2 of these. So instead of making it the same 16 blocks across, I've added a little bit of wiggle room just to account for error here. So here is where you're going to letter your C. Okay, and up here is where you're going to letter your B. Okay, then you're going to grab your pull tag again, and you're going to line it up. And you're going to put glue the length of your lettering. and then line it up in the middle. You're going to line up your page here. You're going to put your glue down. Make sure it's all even. And then you have your C and your B. Okay, I didn't cut it quite. You might want to add another layer of blocks just to make sure that it doesn't get stuck in like that. And once you have your tab in there all perfectly lined up, you can cut it. And then you have your layout. So C, B. I kicked myself when I thought of this after the fact. But I'm glad I thought of it because now you hopefully get to benefit from it and showcase it in your notebook. So I hope you found these tutorials helpful. If you do use any of these tutorials, tag me and let me know how it goes. It's not without headache and pain, but definitely measure twice, cut once. So thanks for watching, guys.